Alright everyone, let's check out this video. This is one I learned from 3,000 plus LMS wins. This one's from KrakenaBrew. Let's check it out. Let's check it out, man. It's been doing good. 11,000 views in 3 months. That's pretty cracked.
Bro, get out of my clip.
Bro, why is he skulled? Why is he skulled with orbital and freaking crossbow?
Brother.
You should get him to go in the wilderness,
So
bro.
I've won over 3,000 LMS wins across all my accounts.
3,000. That's a lot of freaking... Why so many accounts, bro? He's got 7 accounts on screen.
And I thought I'd share with you some of the stuff I've learned. This is also the first video I've ever made, so please let me know what you think of it. This will be a
Guys, go subscribe to KrakenaBrew down below.
very loose guide to LMS. More of a tips and tricks
Well, I'm not the best at LMS, but I like to say I'm pretty good, though.
type of video. There's a couple of things we'll have to go over before we can jump into a game. I always recommend having auto retaliate off, unless you're a bot.
Definitely, the only times you want auto retaliate on when you're PKing IMO is when you're door standing.
I also recommend using F keys. To be honest, you guys should be using F keys anyways, even if you don't do any PvP content.
Always. Unless you're using the keyboard to do it, to switch F keys.
I'll show you guys my setup, but you guys can have it however you like. So here I have F1 as spec, F2 for inventory, F3 for prayers, F4 for spellbook, and F5
Mine are similar. I have escape as the inventory, F5 as special attack.
for equipment. Sort of in a straight line. I also recommend turning off the setting Enhance Pointer Precision under your mouse settings. I won't show you guys how to do that, but I'll provide some links in the description. A few useful plugins are the PvP Performance Tracker, Entity Hider, and Player Outline. And freeze timers. Let's get into the gear setup.
Freeze timer!
This is Max/Med, this is Zerker, and this is Pure. There are some items you want to avoid and prioritize. I made sheets for each mode. The items in green are the ones that I recommend, and the items in red are the ones that I avoid taking. You might have noticed that there are some items I recommend avoiding in the Med and Zerk modes, but recommend in the Pure mode.
Oh snap, he's got a whole charts over here, bro. So... even for each mode as well. He doesn't recommend torture inquisitors. No mages book. Interesting. No inferno cape. So he doesn't recommend inferno. What?
This is because the way magic defense is calculated. Items like the tormented bracelet and
Yeah, I've got to get that barrage first. But I personally do recommend inferno cape. But he doesn't recommend it for Zerkers. But he does recommend it for Pures. Doesn't recommend the Gmaul. Gmaul's bad. Gmaul's bad. Not always bad, you know. A nice little GDS Gmaul. Or Darkbow regular hit Gmaul. No heavy ballista. Yeah, they still haven't put the upgraded Gmaul into LMS. They do not care about that, bro.
and Mage's book give magic offense and defensive bonus, which makes you more resistant to magic attacks. Okay, now we're ready to jump into a game. Right off the bat, one thing I don't see players doing is eating to 115 right after a fight is finished. After you take down your opponent, make sure to brew up to 115 before your inventory resets.
Yeah, that's a huge thing to do, man. You always gotta want to do that.
That way, you start the fight with an extra 16 hit points and a fresh inventory. Since your first fight will likely be a bot these days, take this opportunity to make this a habit. Speaking of bots, here's some common places that bots and players like to hide for the Desert Island and Wild Rock maps.
It's such a huge map, guys. I think they should have made the map a little smaller. Now that'd be cool if like these things had like actual like stuff you can get like maybe at the shops or something. I think that'd be cool. Maybe like an unlimited prayer, like altar, place that heals you, things like that. That'd be very cool.
If you're not very good at
But also kind of overpowered.
PvP or an Iron Man, checking these places on the map is a good way to get some free points.
Snap Clown and Iron Man's.
The places that bots like to hide is
Dude, oh the bots hide, bro. That got now when the fog comes, they can't hide for long though.
also a great place to hide any weapons
This guy's hiding upstairs though.
and armor that you don't need. Too many times I find
Bots, by the way, bots.
free upgrades because players don't take the time to hide them. While we're talking about upgrades, here's some maps of where loot crates spawn. Keep an eye out in the chat box for when they appear. If you just got a kill and have immunity, you have the advantage. You should start the fight by hitting your opponent off prayer by rushing your specs and quickly
Bro. that guy's, you know, that guy's gonna be dead. Maybe too, even a barrage right here. Let's see if he gets a triple E.
overwhelming them. Why
Oh yeah, they give you a spirit shield, so he's gonna splash.
they play catch up, you can do more damage and secure the fight more in your favor. In the clip before and the current one playing, both opponents took a lot of damage because they didn't expect to get rushed, and because they were in their robes. The reason momentum is so important is because RuneScape
Imagine they put the Karasi in LMS, guys.
is an RNG based game, and you can lose momentum in a matter of a few ticks even while making all the right moves. It's best to take advantage while you still have it,
Yeah, 3K LMS wins are no joke, man.
especially in a deathmatch style fight like LMS. If RNG is not in your favor and your opponent has the momentum, the best thing you can do is learn the patterns of their attack styles. In this clip, my opponent is reacting or not reacting at all to my attacks. Because of this, he can't do anything besides eat and hope I get bad RNG. This is the spot you don't want to be in. Because he was constantly playing catch up and not predicting my moves, he ended up losing the fight while I had half my food left. There are gonna be
Yeah, they give you only like sharks, which it's a good idea. The fights don't last long, but they do give you sharks, so it's kind of hard to heal.
times when you don't
But it's not like they're giving you like Hydra leather and stuff and Prims and like all that DPS gear. But Prims do give defensive bonuses as well, so.
have momentum and need to be on the defensive. If you're unable to land a freeze, you should be sitting in your tank and bull ragging them down. Slowly chipping away at them like this can give you an opening to force a spec and change the tide of the battle. In this case, forcing a spec not only switched the momentum, but also finished him off. He was not very happy. Part of being good at LMS and a good PKer in general is noticing the patterns in your opponent's attack styles. In the early part of this fight, you'll notice after he mages, he goes straight into his Elder Maul. After a few exchanges, I take notice of this
Yeah, he's gonna keep doing that then, for sure.
pattern, and can't melee pray after every other attack. And because he's not able to anticipate my moves, he ends up taking a lot of damage, making observation
Yeah, if you're not hitting them, I'll pray when doing that tactic of like switching back to the Elder Maul a lot. Just don't keep doing it, guys. Even with all the fakies and stuff, if they're constantly switching to pray melee, do not keep pulling out the Elder Maul. That's why Elder Maul is not used that much in breeding, because it's kind of predictable. Because, you know, they're like, if they're delaying their ticks and stuff, it's very, very predictable.
observations like these can win you the fight. During the course of a battle, you're going to want to be in your tank gear as often as possible. This means either being in your tank legs and d'hide body when you know your opponent's going to use range or melee, and your d'hide top and robe bottoms when you know your opponent's going to use mage. If you're on the noobier side of PKing, just stick to your d'hide top and legs. Augury and Mystic might also increase your mage defense, so while you're on the defensive, this prayer should be on while you're eating and trying to regain your footing. Being in tank is important because protection prayers do not decrease the likelihood of being damaged, they only decrease incoming damage by 40%. It's also worth noting that for the pure mode, tank gear does not matter with 1 defense. However, mage defense does matter, so switching into your Hithe and Staff are worth it. You should be hugging and DDing people in every fight, especially if the player is around your
Especially if you're near the trees and stuff where you can like hug around the stuff, and it's very easy to get an advantage like that. If they lose like 3 hits, there's a very good chance you're gonna win then.
skill level. If you don't know what I'm talking about, hugging is where your opponent is frozen around a tree or a wall, you attack them and immediately go back behind the tree or wall. Similarly, DDing, also known as death dotting, is where you stand under your opponent, attack them, and walk back under them. Both styles of fighting give you control of the fight as long as your opponent is frozen. It's just as important to know how to respond when someone is hugging or DDing under you. If you use Rune Light, you should turn on Entity Hider and Player Outline. You should also always be in your tank gear. After that,
Player outline. Guys, finally it's cooling down where I live, finally, yay!
you have a few options. You can either freeze them or bolt them back while you focus on your prayers. If you're able to flick on and off your mage gear quickly, you can try to freeze them. If you're not so good with your switches, I recommend just bolting them. Many times, I see players drop mithril seeds as if they're useless. Well, they are 100% worth the inventory space. If you're absolutely getting wrecked like I am in this clip, using seeds is a good way to break the momentum while getting DD'd. You can use seeds a couple different ways. Seeding away while being frozen next to your opponent will surely piss
That's if you get the seed drop, which is not that frequent, but
them off.
that'd be cool if they put. Wait, do they? Is their option to actually always have seeds? I'm not 100% sure.
As they're about to melee you. You can also use seeds offensively. While they're DD'd under you, seeding out and bolting or freezing them is a good way to make them fight up front. You should be speccing, using your melee weapon, or faking melee every time you're unfrozen. With the DDS and VLS especially, you should dump a spec early so that you can regenerate.
It sucks I get the Aram staff because it doesn't have the special attack bar.
1 or 2 more specs over the course of a fight. In case you don't know what a fakie is, it's when you make it seem like you're going to use an attack style, but at the last second you switch to another attack style. There's a bunch of fakies, so we'll only go over a couple of them. My favorite one personally is a mage to melee spec fakie. They think I'm gonna hit him with mage because I'm in robes.
Yeah, I don't do that much often anymore, guys. I gotta get. I gotta like brush on my skills at LMS, it seems.
And then I surprise him with the spec. The risk, however, is being in your robes, you're more likely to take damage. One more fakie I'd like to cover is what I like to call fumbling mage. It's
Man, I just want them to add bounty hunter freezes to bounty hunter would be so cool.
particularly helpful when you're trying to learn how to switch into mage, and it's a good fakie in general. When you're switching into mage gear and you misclick your opponent, you quickly switch back into range and bolt them, turning into a mage to range fakie. It's important to know how to use brews. You can use them as combo food, or you can use them on the offense while simultaneously healing yourself. As for combo food, it goes Shark Brew or Shark Brew Kwambon if you really need to heal up. Oh, and Shark Kwambon works as well, but generally I like to
Or brew Kwambon. Or Kwambon brew, rather. You brew Kwambon, actually, it's brew Kwambon.
try and only double E. And for using them offensively, you're going to want to brew and blitz and brew and bolt, like so. Dealing with Vengeance can be annoying if you're still learning to PK. Knowing your advantages against Vengers will aid you in taking them down.
Okay, that's cool they added it, but he's got Stadius Warhammer. I don't think they put the Vestas Longsword in here. Correct me if I'm wrong.
The first thing you should be doing is try to hit them on prayer, so that you take reduced damage when you break their revenge. Farcasting them with Blood Barrage is essentially free damage and heals when they're using a rune crossbow.
Yes, Blood Barrage is very important.
If they have an ACB or Ballista, it's better to DD under them or hug them. You're also going to want to remember when they become unfrozen. Every Venger in LMS will always try to hit you with their melee weapon when they can, so you're going to want to keep your distance. There are people that will try and run from you. When they try to escape, clicking follow on them helps, but you can get caught behind objects. So the best thing to do is use an item from your inventory on them. That way, your character will avoid all obstacles and find the quickest path to them.
Does it really? Does attack do the same? I don't know if attack does the same as using an item on them. I gotta look into that.
Having
What's up, Ryan?
player indicators on helps because it highlights your square below them, so even if you can't see them, you can still see where they are. Unfortunately, in this clip, he was able to get in combat with another player. Generally, being barraged is not a good thing, but there's an advantage to it. When you get barraged, it briefly conceals your character. During that time, you can end up surprising your opponent with a gear change or a spec. There's a possibility that you might run into super bots. Although I've only seen 2 in the last 5 months, it's still worth talking about. Super bots will always attempt to hit you off prayer and will one-tick all of their switches. Unless you're able to one-tick consistently, you stand
Is
little
that a clip of a super bot? Let's see.
chance against them. There are
Oh my
some
gosh, bro! You see how quickly that's
weaknesses
switching.
that we can exploit though. Because they will always hit you off prayer, the answer is keeping them frozen and changing your prayer the last tick. These current generation of superbots favor melee and mage, but that may not always be the case. The core fundamentals of beating superbots as of now is sitting in your tank, keeping them frozen, and one-ticking
The bot's even talking to him.
all of your attacks and overhead prayers. You have to keep in mind that RuneScape is an RNG-based game, meaning even if you do everything right, you can still lose the fight. PKing in LMS
RNG, by the way.
and in general is about giving yourself the best odds and being unpredictable. With that, you can minimize the effect that luck has in a battle. If you learned anything you didn't know, please let me know by leaving a like and subscribing. I would appreciate any feedback. Also, let me know if you'd like me to do a more comprehensive guide in the future about LMS. I can make play-by-play videos of battles or what goes through my mind during a fight. I hope you enjoy my first video, and have a great day.
Well, a very nice first video. When I made my first video, I also like put a great amount of effort into it. But check them out in the description, guys. See you next video. Thank you for watching. Peace out. Like and subscribe.